Welcome to another episode of Listening to the Wind, IWSA's regular interview series. And I'm really, today it's a great pleasure to be sitting here with Marcus Schormann. Hello, Marcus. Hi, how are you? You well?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'll just give a quick introduction to Marcus and then we'll go straight into seeing his presentation. So Marcus Schormann is the owner of Schormann's Maritima, a German-based ship design development project. Marcus, after 15 years on board commercial vessels as an able seaman and ship's mechanic, he then developed his side business of developing alternative ship propulsion systems, mainly based on wind for propulsion via conventional sails. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the project and also discussing some of the developments on the other side of your presentation. So Marcus, please take it away and you can share your screen now. Yep, we can see that. So take it away, Marcus.
The project Marine S, wind-assisted ship propulsion, bases in total of the common thoughts of reducing the environmental impact by the use of fossil energy sources. The intention behind is that every ton not burned oil means a reduction of 2.4 tons, no more emissions in summary. Wind as the propulsion energy is free of charge and free of production and delivering needs. According to present calculation, about 25% of the required propulsion energy for this particular vessel can be generated with our system. The name-giving vessel Marine S is a canal trade motor coaster in the size of 999 GRT, built in 1985, and her excellent condition still allows her to be in business mainly in Baltic Sea areas, carrying mainly project cargoes and several general goods for bigger charter companies. She's part of a small shipping company, Kevin S. GmbH from Hamburg. The company owns, all including, 3 nearly similar size vessels. After several plannings, evaluations, calculations, the vessel will receive a stay sail with approximately 400 square meter sail area spread all over the hatch area without any obstruction of the operation tasks. One of the main basics is an A-frame mast situated behind the wheelhouse and foldable to the stern via an hydraulic cylinder system. All the used assemblings are serial parts. Only a few had to be certificated for use on commercial vessels. The handling of the equipment while sailing will be managed by several high-tech systems in a kind of remote handling centralized on the bridge. All systems are basing on hydraulic energy source generated in a special kind of self-development called hybrid hydraulic system. The equipment for sailing means the mast and the sail itself can be removed by the crew within a short time, about half an hour, by removed 1 or 2 crew members. In summary, we can say the system in total could match on several same size and same type vessels in the coastal business area. The mast itself, foldable to the stern, is equipped with all the navigation facilities and needs, including antennas, lights, and radar systems and other devices. The concept could be developed by some various partners, all from Europe. Most of them are just established from the big yacht sector, demonstrating a strong interest of implementing their technologies in commercial shipping is their intention. What makes my development a little easier, because the engagement of the involved companies like Harvey Hydraulics or even the service-giving company Marine Service Brunsbüttel are very interested in establish their own business in the ongoing development in case of transitions. So I'm glad to share a whole bunch of partners around me. Makes it very easy to me to bring out my own personal ideas in combination with the technology developments at all.
Yeah, very interesting presentation. Thank you, Marcus. I had a couple of questions for you. You've chosen the MV Maureen, and she's you mentioned she's 199 GRT. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So how long is she?
The vessel?
Yes,
88 meters long and 11.3 meters wide.
And mainly bulk cargoes, yeah.
Bulk cargo built and conditioned, I suppose even for containerized cargo, but mainly in the moment conditioned for what is it? Not dry bulk, but what is the other word? All these project cargos.
Oh right, yes.
The whole hatch available for in total, without separation, with all this.
And it's interesting that you've opted for a sort of retrofit soft sail system. Could you just talk us through a little bit why you went in that direction with the soft sail rather than maybe a rigid sail or some other system?
I think it's very easy. One point, I'm a sailor. I'm since my youth, and I think this utilizing conventional rigs or conventional sails for propulsion is a very old system. It's very proved and is over centuries modernized or things like that. And I think the handling with these forms of propulsion system is within the heads of the people, of the crew, especially the officers. And I think many other systems, well worth, no question, are still new. They have to be built. They have to be built in several operation areas, in several forms of ships, and they have to be tested. They have to be evaluated, not only on the screen but in truth. They have to be built. They cost a lot of money, and I've within my own development time of development since 1996. I watched and see and reckoned some other development starts and development improvements like rotor sails, for example. For some time I was in a close contact with Marico, and so I reckon the problems they had more than a couple of years to establish the system. I'm not sure about the efficiency of the rotor sails in the manners of real fuel savings. They have to test, they have to evaluate the efficiency. I was not really sure, but on the other hand, I saw some of the vessels I wanted to focus are still able to sail in the true manner of the words. These are the vessels built from after the Second World War until 1970, about that, and they are the shape of the hulls are the condition these vessels even simply sail, because they are steerable without propulsion by their propeller.
Right.
That's one of the essentials. And in the past, my developments were in direction of sequences of pure sailing. Some of my own evaluations even showed these phases of pure sailing while you're carrying from A to B. So that's only possible if you construct or develop a system including not only as addition on an existing vessel. You have to develop a whole vessel for it in this shape or in this kind of hulls, which are able to be steerable and to be sailed in the whole, in the total word expression. So I'm still I'm not in love with this system, conventional sales, but it's my thing.
No, I mean, yeah,
to focus these.
Sure. So the use, I mean, I think from the presentation I took, the use of elements that are pre-existing, that it's a system based with materials, with proven technologies, and off-the-shelf components.
Yes, of course.
And that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
that's one of the points from the background. I can I'm a little proud of it, that I can say about now for the Marine S, we can take every element out of the shelf at the supplier. That means in the end, pre and after investment is lower. We can take this system as it is, the mast, the sail, the furling system, and the hydraulics at all, just simply take away from the ship and implement it on another one. So we can, and main point, every piece and part out of the shelf. And in the moment, more than 70% of the pieces and parts of this construction of this development is proved for use in commercial shipping. Right. So that makes a lot of sense. We save. Most people do not have this all on their screen. It's a whole amount of money you have to spend by certification, proving or improving, or it's simply to follow the regulations of the authorities.
Sure. So that's kind of standardization and also rationalization of
Yes.
of the equipment, of the
Yes.
systems, and that rationalization will also it also help with the spare parts, interchangeability
Yes, all this
as well. Yeah, no, I can see that, and I think when you're rolling out a large number of systems, the more standard they can be, and the more rational the supply chain. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I'm just wondering why you chose this size of vessel as well. So there's many different types of vessel out there in the Baltic and in the North Sea, for example, but you chose this. Was it because of the applicability of that size, or was it more to do with the availability of the ship?
I would say the main point is the whole sector of coastal transport is a little bit neglected in all the movement in the moment in manners of wind for propulsion. We see trans-ocean vessels, we see vessels all around, global operating vessels with equipped with any systems, but no one talks about the coaster. And on the other hand, I was for a couple of time I was engaged with the movements. For example, Interreg has to revive the small ports to just to decrease the environment impact on the backland transport and things like that. And you can reach achieve reach your distances and with the small ships, with the mid-size vessels. One of the other reasons is there are a lot of older vessels available, a higher quota of older vessels in the coastal business area than on the deep sea area. Especially for some reasons I mentioned before, the older vessels, as long as they are in a good condition, are in a better condition to utilize my systems.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that.
So that's the other point. The point of view. What I've now, while the ongoing construction in the moment, the sail design of one sails promises 25% of fuel savings in average, and not only at in one view, one only point view, in average over the month. When we talking about 20 to 25 sea days a month, they promise 25% of fuel savings, or they promise to generate the propulsion energy for this type of vessel in a quota of 25%. It means in the end we can generate 20% fuel savings, and especially these small companies are most of the times owner companies, the vessels, and the financial situations is with these small companies not or tough, the investment company, the investment situation would be the better word, is in these small companies worse than in bigger
challenging
so this one of these other points we have to face, and even leasing systems we are now in moment constructing for this project are for small vessels. The amount is lower, the investment amount is easier to establish as for millions and millions investment for a new vessel, a big vessel for the deep sea area.
So I have one question, one last question on the presentation. When are we likely to see the first vessel being outfitted with the system?
In planning, mostly supplier could start immediately at once. So the assembling onboard ship would need about a week in the docks, maybe. Not even in the dry docks, simply in the docks is not that difficult. Only the mast builder in Holland needs about half a year. But I would say, if the investment is done, we can see this ship in the next year in the Baltic Sea.
So you're basically you're waiting for the investment to move the project forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. The developer are close. The planner, the construction is done. The mast builder got the last few days got the final measurements, and so we are ready to go.
Excellent.
And we hope all that it's the first one. It's the first of this kind of, and I call it or name it generation of new vessels. Old vessels.
So my question leading from that then is in a wider sense, is finance, do you see this, not just with your project, but wider in the wind propulsion segment? Do you see finance or access to finance as being the major barrier or the major challenge of realizing these projects, or are there other barriers?
I would say it's a part of the finance sector, the investors. And I have had that many conversation and communication on this space with these people. The first question is the return of capital, and I think that's one of the main obstruction. Because the transition in their sector is not done. The return of capital, the need or requirement of return of capital is too short. If you take a life balance of a normal life balance of a vessel built in Europe or in Asia or wherever, is around 30 years. 25 to 30 years. If you see it in the real business, you see in the moment that they cut the life cycle of the vessel into 10 or 15 years and sell it while they build the ship. It's sold for the next owner. So the return of capital is the main point they ask for. And I think the transition we both, or our movement should force, is the transition in their brain. To come, we are not talking about money for the future. We're talking about future, and we are very close to Mrs. Greta Thunberg in their argumentation. It's a little bit more.
Right. So
it's not the financial aspect to save some money by saving fuel consumption, or we reducing emissions, but that's not all. It's all capital. It's all money. We have to earn money. The ship owner have to earn money. The dry docks have to earn money. The developer, we have to live from this money. There's no question, but the requirement of the height and the time of return of capital does not fit in this.
Yeah, that is a challenge. I mean, if you're looking at a triple bottom line with the economics, the environmental returns, if you like, or the restrictions of damage, but also that social development as well, jobs, infrastructure development, etc. Yeah, and I think from what I can see, you mentioned about perception changes and changing in people's brains. I think that is moving, and there's more realization, but it still seems to be a little bit added on. So I need to make my money, and if it's green, that would be nice. Whereas I think we both agree it needs to be essential to the discussion. And that actually leads me on to a kind of second question or area, is we are actually seeing quite a bit of movement within the EU around drivers for change. So things like the EU emissions trading system, including shipping into that. So there'll be a carbon price, the Fuel EU maritime regulation, which will increase the ambition or the decarbonization structure and give targets. And also at the IMO, we have the EEXI and the CII, the Carbon Intensity Index. My first question to you is, do you see these regulatory drivers as being important to promote wind propulsion in the sector? And which of those do you think is actually going to be more or the most useful?
Most useful, from my personal opinion, is the movement within the IMO. Because after the IMO, there are the next authorities, like the DNVGL, like the regulation authorities of the different flag state regulations. But they all of them, they're looking like to what is the IMO doing. If the IMO is very active and is well on our way working, and so the others follow them, and that makes it attractive for us. So I suppose many big companies do watch them and do look, do they generate some business for us or not? If yes, they jump on this train. Like some of the supplier I got to know in the last couple of years, not only dockyards, not only very close to shipbuilding working companies, some of the shipbuilding suppliers enlarge their portfolio, like Becker Marine, for example, or some of the dockyard changed or increased or topped up their portfolio to jump in onto this new achievements they are on the screen now. And that makes that helps us.
Yeah, no, I
helps
completely agree.
And in the end, they can they are not alone. They conquer. One looks on the other's table and looks what he's doing. Oh, I could do it as well, and this influences on the price situation at the end. I've seen this very excellent on some situation with one of my supplier. Some of the systems he wants to sell to me are a little cheaper as he sells it in the big yacht sector. Because even he changed his R&D within his company, and even this is an Italian supplier based in total in the big yacht sector, and he's on the train now, and even his R&D develops new items, new devices, or little change devices for use in commercial shipping, and so they are all on the train now. Right. That's
good to hear that.
In the end, it influences the prices.
So, and I'm sure, obviously as we're seeing the momentum growing within, if you like, an alternative fuel sector, but also within the wind sector, then those prices will start coming down as well.
Yeah.
So for the components and for the systems.
Yeah.
I had one last sort of question for you. The sectors, the shipping sectors that you think will be the big growth areas for wind propulsion. You mentioned about deep sea shipping, you mentioned about coastal shipping, but within that, we have roll-on, roll-off ferries, we have bulkers, tankers, container vessels, feeders, offshore vessels, etc., etc. Which of those segments do you see being probably the ones that will be the front runners or the pioneering sectors for not just your wind propulsion system, but wind propulsion in general?
I wouldn't say that there's one preferable. I would say we do have several systems. We have several needs. We have several operation tasks, including the operation areas. If the whole bunch of ship owners would realize that for one ship this system fits, but not the other, I couldn't assemble a sky sail on a coaster.
Right.
It wouldn't make sense.
So kind of horses for courses, different systems for different ships. Yeah.
As well as others. For example, in the road mobility, street mobility, some complaints about the lack of technology opening. We have a technology opening within also in our area. A tanker running from Southampton to Valparaiso, he can be fitted out with the SkySail Plus rotor sails. A car carrier wouldn't be very successful because he needs to reach some coastal ports in Europe, plus East US ports, and then South America and backwards. It wouldn't fit. He needs another system, or me with the conventional rigs can navigate and carry do their business, carry their cargos at the pure coastal areas. I don't want to sail from Neoline could do this business with this vessel East Coast US or Canada to Europe.
Yeah, no, I get your point completely.
In the end of it has to be efficient in the end. No, and it has to fit, and therefore we need this technology opening.
Yeah, no, and I think certainly we have numerous technology options at the moment. Yeah. But as you say, it's finding the niches, finding the areas, the specific system, and then there'll probably be 2 or 3 systems that can be adopted on those. Now, I can see that developing. Absolutely.
It's really similar to the street mobility, where some people say, okay, e-mobility might be worthy, okay, but in this sector.
Right. No, I get you. Yeah.
Very good. The H2 hydrogen mobility on a heavy loaded truck, or even a truck train in US or in Australia, if you have the facility of delivering. We have this problem here. Maybe you have heard about it in Germany. Everyone want to force the e-mobility, but we have no infrastructure to load our batteries.
Yeah. No, indeed. So it's finding the right solutions for the right purposes and the right delivery. Yeah, no, I
Yes,
get
of
that
course.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna we're gonna come away from the macro, and
Yeah.
we're gonna get into a very short, quick fire question answer. So I'm going to give you a question, and you've got one sentence, just a quick
Yes.
answer on each one. So personally, how did you get into wind propulsion for commercial shipping?
Very simple, sailing as a youngster, and then reading books.
Hmm. Okay.
There are some particular books about sailing and things like that. Some of them even influence my own development today.
Fantastic. Well, maybe if listeners or watchers want that list of books, they can contact you directly there. If you meet a new wind propulsion developing company that was just starting up, what have you've been in this sector for a couple of decades now, looking at different designs, looking at different systems. What advice would you give those new developers?
The first advice would be, the main point has to be, what kind of energy source I need for my operation task. I cannot sail the river Elbe if my operation task means coming from Hamburg, sailing to the few islands or maybe East Coast Great Britain. I need an engine.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that integration.
Technology opening.
So you got the wind plus. Okay,
yes.
Gotcha. Right. What's the most frequently asked question? I'm sure you've had hundreds of people ask you thousands of questions, just like I am today.
Yeah.
What was the most frequently asked question? And what's your answer to that question?
The first question is, what does it cost?
Okay.
And the second question is, what is the return of capital?
Right. And your answer?
I don't
you
know.
Don't have to give the answer. You don't want to. That's okay.
Not that easy, but
sure. Okay, so it's a getting down to the bottom line. I get you. Okay. In the development of wind propulsion systems, and maybe in the development of your wind propulsion system, what's been the most difficult issue that you've had to tackle?
The most difficulty is to find supplier. They are engaged in this commercial shipping in manners of certification, classification at the end. That's the most difficulty.
Right. Okay. Interesting. And when people see your system or see wind propulsion in general on commercial ships today, what's the most common misconception? What do they get wrong?
It's most of the time it's a lack of information, because if I present in any way my thoughts or my conceptions, the first thing is too much crew.
Okay.
For handling the conventional sails. That's because crew costs money.
Sure.
It's expensive, and we know that in the past, when we changed from the sailing vessels to the steamer and motor propelled vessels, the first was the crew became smaller and smaller. Because a big sailing four-masted square-rigged, 35 people on board, only on deck. So what you need today, they need, including officers, 18, 16, same size or bigger. That's the question, because the crew costs a lot of money.
Right.
And that's the first question: how is the handling of the sails?
So they want
and things like.
So the fact that it's like an automated system
Yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
handle. Okay. And the last question I've got is around the carbon footprint or the sort of life cycle analysis. So you're using soft sails, for example.
Yeah.
What is have you done a calculation around the carbon footprint and life cycle analysis?
I would say I do it mainly very easy. I just have a look on the fuel savings. Fuel emits CO2 or all emissions, SO2, NOx, things like that. And as I mentioned before, the sailmaker, one says promises 25% of generating the necessary propulsion energy for this vessel. Means in the end for me, because I have to move my sails and things like that, even that needs energy, electric or hydraulic energy. And so I'm calculated 20% fuel savings, and that's for me my headline. And
around the materials. Around the materials of
the materials, I don't bother that much, because on the other, to say it in the other way around, if I ask for some subsidies, I'm asked to build in actual state of art, even using recyclable and recycled material is one of the main points. So when I build a mast now for the actual project, Rondal can build carbon masts for big yachts, things like that. High technology. I wouldn't get any penny and subsidies, nothing. So we built an aluminium mast. That's even my profession. I don't want to have the plastic. We built an aluminium mast. It is recycled aluminium. 90% of the used aluminium construction is recycled aluminium, and it is recyclable.
Right.
Gotcha. The next, the sails, the steel-made rig, even the hydraulic components, even the supplier have in their portfolio that their used material for their elements are used to, they are out of the shelf. They are general serial pieces and parts. Even they have the this theme using recycled or recyclable material.
That's absolutely fine.
Up to the hydraulic oil, what I use has to be green hydraulic oil and things like that.
But so your main
focus, this footprint in the material, even the building itself.
Right. So those are suppliers that supplying materials that can be recycled or made from recycled stuff. Your main focus is on putting those together and getting the fuel safe. Absolutely, I get that completely. Well, Marcus, I think we could be discussing each one of these items for much longer. But I'm going to give you 1 minute to give us just a takeaway or a summary of your system, of your approach, etc. So I'm going to shut up now. Give you a minute there, and then we'll do the wrap up. So, Marcus, over to you.
I would say my main intention for ages now in this sector of developments is sounds a little pathetic, sounds a little like Greta Thunberg. There's only one, there's no planet B. And planet means the atmosphere we are all breathing from. And I think even resources and the surface on Earth and all our impact on our biologically systems or ecological, these systems, is seen as too big. And that's one of the reasons we have to focus other ways to of our conduct on this earth. Sounds a little pathetic. We are guests on this earth, and wind is free of charge and needs no delivery, needs no production. It is free of charge means it's available nearly everywhere on the world. We just have to pick it up. And if we discuss this by speed or transport speed or economically reasons, I think there's a lot of discussion on the world now. If I see, if I only have a focus on this even bigger, higher, quicker, and things like that, even in sea transport, if I see these meanwhile, very large container vessels on one side, they carry cheap, they carry sometimes quick, but they carry a whole amount of containers, very quick, maybe sustainable all over the world or transatlantic ocean or wherever. And at the end, I have to dredge the river Elbe 4 meters deeper as it is, with another environment impact on the whole river. Next step, I have to denature a whole amount of surface around Hamburg's ports, or not only Hamburg, Singapore as well, or Southampton as well, or Rotterdam, or wherever. I have denature surfaces only to pre-store and after store, after my well done transport, very quick, very much. This is not a way of sustainability. It's maybe one vessel, maybe using green fuels, maybe carrying 30,000 containers around or across the Atlantic. But if I have not infrastructure in Hamburg, in Wilhelmshaven, in Bremen, that's what I have to focus as European. If I carry away in one train 70 TEU, 70, and I deliver with one vessel 30,000 TEU, how many trains would I need to carry this away? It's impossible. That's why I need huge surfaces, denatured, cemented. What for?
Yeah.
Because only that one of them can say, oh, I'm very sustainable. I can carry per ton green fuel X containers. Yeah, nice, very nice. On the other hand, you have dredged the river Elbe. The river Elbe becomes quicker. The whole impact onto the Czech Republic, you can measure this impact of the dredging only for the Hamburg port. It's horrible. It's not sustainable, and that's what. And when I say, okay, I must have this good, within 2 days from Asia to, it's my own luxus. This is luxus what we are living in. We can wait.
Okay.
We can wait, and that's why we can also sail.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a good statement to finish on. We can sail. I like it. Yeah. Marcus, as I said, we could probably talk. We could probably talk all day, and I'm sure we will. And we'll come back. Yeah. We'll come back in a year's time and get an update on how things are going. So, but Marcus Schormann, thank you very much for joining us today. And to our audience, thank you very much for joining us for for another Listening to the Wind episode. If you have any follow-up questions, you'd like to send those to me at secretariat@wind-ship.org or to Marcus directly. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much, Marcus.
Thank you, Gavin.
Fair
See you then.
winds. Bye-bye.
Fair winds. Bye.